You know how you've got business class on an aeroplane? Well, just cut that section out of the plane, put 4 wheels on it, a steering wheel, and wrap it in sheet metal, and that's what you have here. This is the Lexus LM. It's the craziest MPV on sale. It's based on the TNGA K platform, like the Camry, the Lexus NX, and the Lexus RX. You can get it in front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. This is the base spec model we've got here, the LM350H. It's kind of got the Camry hybrid engine, a 2.5 litre petrol 4-cylinder paired with an electric motor assist system. Combined, you've got 184 kilowatts. The torque rating is 270, but that's just for the petrol engine. For some reason, Lexus doesn't quote the combined torque figure. But it's got plenty of power, plenty of get up and go. We'll do the performance test a bit later on and I'll show you. The design is definitely very interesting. It's got a huge slab interpretation of the spindle front grille from Lexus. Little hexagonal chunks everywhere. Some of them are separated, some of them are not. And it does actually go through in certain parts, but the top section here is just for show. It doesn't actually provide cooling. Same as down below, there's a few sections that are blocked off. But yeah, definitely very distinctive, very imposing. It looks futuristic as well, with these striking headlights with 3 main sections in there. Lots of chrome along the window trims there. And around at the back, it kind of looks like a Lexus. It's got the same full width taillight trim as the NX and RX. But yeah, giant tailgate on there, giving you some idea of its cabin space. It's mainly for VIP driver services and things like that. Prices start from $160,000 for this base model, and then the top spec LM500H, which is quite interesting. It has a 2.4 turbo petrol engine and hybrid system, all-wheel drive, and that starts from 220 grand. It's pretty much the same powertrain as the RX 500H F-Sport Performance, except power has been capped to over 200 kilowatts. It's not 273 like the RX. We'll start with the rear seats because I think that's probably the most important area in a vehicle like this. Fully electric doors. Once you're in here, very comfortable, very spacious as you'd expect. Like, look at all that leg room. I can fully just extend my legs out completely, almost. And you've got lots of different functions and adjustment features here. So on the side of the seat, you've got full electric adjustment. You've also got a nice little cup holder that pops out there. And on this side, another little section that swings up, and you've got a table for a laptop or whatever you want to do in the back here. And you may have also noticed these 2 phones sitting here. I'll turn the car on and we can get them going. With the car started, we can see the flip down LCD screen there. You can play all sorts of stuff through that. There is an optional massive 48-inch screen that you can get across this whole section here, but it comes with like a complete bulkhead. I'm not sure if you can get that in Australia though. I'll flash up a confirmation now. Might be just for the 500H as well. But yeah, massive screen across there if you really want it. But even without that, you've got a full console up above with climate control, seat heating and cooling, and then various options. You can even close the door from here. And then you've got this little roof shade as well, like a mini sunroof. You've also got a HDMI cable down here, a little storage box. Yeah, definitely very comfortable. You could sit in here for hours, you know, as you make your way across from city to city or something. It's also got a little footrest down there as well, I've just noticed. Everything feels very high quality. There are some plastics as typical of Lexus, but it's just for hard wearing areas. The leather is very soft as usual with Lexus as well. Like, it's got this really soft feel to it. And down here you've got these twin phones. They can adjust pretty much everything. You can do the shades here as well. I might just shut that door. You've got all the different windows, but I'll just shut this one to show you. That gives you a bit of privacy. The windows are tinted anyway, so it's hard to see in without the even with the shade open. In fact, it's getting a bit dark on the screen there. But you can actually wind down this window too, which is pretty cool. That's not usually the case in vans and MPVs and things. I think that's an interesting little feature. But yeah, nice handle, you can get in and out. Electric door. There's even a little step that folds out from below. And you can close it with the little button on the side there. That little step gets tucked away in there nicely. Around at the back, to open the boot, you've got these discrete buttons on the side. And I've folded up the third row because I'm going to be putting some stuff in it later today, but you can fold these down. It's got these securing straps here, and then it just folds down nicely. At least it is damped as well, so it doesn't just slam down. Then you've got a third row, and there are 3 seats across that bench. It's not like the front captain style chairs. And you might notice there are baby seat anchor points as well, just in case you want to use this as a family car, or if you're a businessman or something like that and you need to pick up the kids. You've also got full electric adjustment from the side panel here, so you don't have to do any heavy lifting apart from when you flip up the seats. It is a little bit of a job. You basically slide the seat all the way back using this tab here, and then you can, it's not heavy, so it's not too much problem, but you've just got to get that strap and plug it into the top there so it holds it nice and secure. Very practical, but it does mean you've got these big seats sitting on the wall if you really want to use that boot space and not have to worry about the third row at all. You do have a space saver spare wheel under there. That's why you can't fold down the seats into the floor. Bit of storage as well. A little bit flimsy actually, these little boards. They're very light, just feels a little bit flimsy. In the front, I do actually like driving vans because you've got awesome visibility, and this is no different. This has got a huge A-pillar window, so you can see right down onto the ground through that section, and then you can see over the top of the side mirror pretty easily. So the blind spot there is not too bad. And you've got a big windscreen as usual with vans. Now on the dash, we've got Lexus's latest touchscreen. I don't actually like it that much. Look at all that blank space on the side there. And it doesn't matter what menus you go in, it's not much better. That's well, slightly better, but you go into the apps and there's just huge white space. But you can use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and that just fills it up nicely. I do like the way you've got separate climate controls down the bottom, and they sort of stay there. And these little temperature controls with windows that go through to the screen. It's a very clever way to do that. But yeah, some of these plastics and things, they do feel pretty basic, even the color. But it does have this nice leather section across the dash and little wood inserts in the steering wheel, which are quite nice too. It doesn't go all the way around, it's just the insert there, including on the top. Fully digital instrument cluster, and you can see there I'm averaging 7.1 litres per 100 kilometres, which is awesome for a big van like this. This weighs 2.3 tonnes, which is very heavy, obviously. The official fuel consumption average is 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres. With a 60 litre tank, it means your average theoretical range is about 1,100 kilometres. There's nothing that screams business class in the front here. You don't get any bonus features like massage seats or anything like that. You do have plenty of storage, the wood trimming, a wireless phone charger down there, but that's pretty conventional these days. You can also open and close the doors from the front, which suggests that this is totally for VIP driver services rather than, you don't buy this as a family car. Well, you can, but 160 grand. The seats are quite nice. They're like F Sport seats. And you do have this suede style Alcantara trim. It's very acoustic and very, peaceful and relaxing in here. And as I said, you've got that nice driving position. You can sit back and relax even in the front. Performance, it goes all right. The CVT definitely detracts from the sensation of building speed, but it does actually climb speed. If you watch the speedo, it climbs up pretty quickly, I mean. You do have a number of driving modes to choose from. Normal, sport, just makes it rev a bit more. Doesn't give it extra power or anything like that. You've also got a rear comfort mode. And when you select that, you can straight away feel it's very cushy and almost bouncy, but very comfortable. It even seems to quieten down a bit somehow. It shows here we've got changes to the front and rear suspension and the powertrain, all to help comfort at the back or in the rear seat. Put it back into sport mode. It does have adaptive dampers, as we can see by that symbol there. In sport mode, you can definitely feel the response is improved. Like, I only need to push my foot a little bit and it starts to pick up, and the gearbox seems to arrange itself in a way that supports that as well. So you don't need to wind it right out. It's already picking up using that electric motor probably to help boost low-end response too. And around corners, it does lean a bit less in the sport mode. Flick it back to normal. It's still quite flat for this type of vehicle. There goes my tripod. But yeah, like, it's an enjoyable drive. I wouldn't push it down a mountain run or something like that. Not too fast anyway, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable on a winding road. And if you really want to save fuel, you've got the eco mode there, and straight away the revs just dropped right down and the throttle just fell out from my foot. So I've really got to push the throttle to get it going. But if you want to save fuel, you know, that just helps you do that by reducing the sensitivity of the controls. We'll leave it in sport mode for the next couple of bends. Push it a bit harder. There's a bump on this corner where we can see if it unsettles a bit. Yeah, it doesn't feel too bad. The front end, I can feel that the tyres are quite tall profile, but that's to be expected for a vehicle like this. I can place it on the road pretty good as well. The steering feels kind of Toyota-y, I guess, in that it's direct, it does its job. There's no negative thing to say about it, but there's no real positive thing to say about it either. It's just steering. Yeah, I really need to be sitting in the back to get the full experience. I'll sit in the back and get my wife to drive, and I'll make some notes, and then I'll put that in the written review on our website coming up soon. For now though, we'll go out and do the performance testing and see what it goes like.